It's important to note that the abuse of minors by Catholic priests is an historical issue and not just a current or periodic crisis, not something that just percolates up to the surface from time to time, but in fact a historical and systemic problem. Sexual abuse by Catholic clergy has been repeatedly addressed by papal decrees over centuries, both as a result of church councils and through the unique interventions of particular popes. From the Council of Elvira in 306 AD, through struggles in dealing with clerics who abused young men and minor children in the Middle Ages, and procedures enacted through the codification of church response to such crimes from the 6th through the 12th centuries, and the codification in law of secret procedures from 1962 until the present, bishops have attempted to either resolve these matters within their own internal diocesan courts or by means of referral to Vatican courts. It's only in more modern times, and I would say from 1922 until about 2001, that bishops and popes have sought to cloak these matters in layers of institutional secrecy, many of which still exist on a statutory level today. Public exposure of these crimes has been more recently documented since the mid-1980s, and the Church's response has been seen in the repeated issue of procedural norms governing the disposition of these cases. In other words, halting attempts by the Catholic Church to deal with the phenomenon of clergy sexual abuse are nothing new. This has been going on since state recognition of the Church at the end of the Roman Empire. There has been a consistent and unbroken history of church negligence and cover-up in dealing with this tragedy. To my mind, clergy sexual abuse appears to be part of the Church's DNA. In 1946, the American priest Reverend Gerald Fitzgerald founded a religious community called Servants of the Paraclete, which established institutes for the treatment of priests who were struggling with psychological and sexual dysfunction. Over the span of 3 decades, from 1946 until 1963, he communicated to the American bishops, to Vatican officials, and to Pope Paul VI his consistent admonition that abuser priests never be returned to ministry, that they are incapable of cure or even treatment and should be forcibly laicized. He was saying these things, as I say, over 3 decades, from 1946. There was already documentary evidence in the 50s and 60s that American bishops agreed with Father Fitzgerald's assessment that priests who sexually abuse these children must not be returned to ministry. And so just allow me to underline, bishops today and in recent decades claim that they base their decisions to reassign abuser priests to ministry on, as they put it, the best psychological advice they had at the time. But as you see, prior advice by professionals involved in the treatment of these criminals contradicts that claim. And you hear it today, and bishops who today lean on that historical claim that they simply followed the advice of professionals are in fact promoting a falsehood.